Please welcome Richard Dean Anderson.
Richard Dean Anderson, an immortal action icon who vanished without a trace at the peak of his fame. For over a decade, no one knew what truly happened to Richard Dean Anderson. Until now.
I actually had to kind of apologize for that during the Stargate days.
Richard Dean Anderson officially broke his silence at London Comic-Con 2025. A statement that rocked all of Hollywood. I quit because I was tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of being someone else. Tired of Hollywood, the first, clearest confirmation after more than a decade of disappearance. The media erupted instantly. OK Magazine ran a bold cover headline, I chose family over fame, and I'd do it again. A resolute, non-negotiable declaration. Closer Weekly confirmed the same day. He hasn't looked back since walking away from Hollywood. Richard never regretted his choice for a single second. A slew of theories that had swirled across social media for 10 years were immediately debunked. No terminal illness, no bankruptcy, no mental breakdown, all were baseless rumors.
You don't know me.
Okay, then I love Jack O'Neill.
Truth finally prevails. The real reason was that Anderson saw Hollywood as a soul-killing machine, a relentless grind that exploits human energy, trading time, youth, health, and ultimately, the soul.
Just so you know, the older you get, the less hair you get, the less balance you have. Any old people in here?
Closer Weekly quoted his chilling words, Hollywood eats people alive. I escaped before it ate me. OK Magazine excerpted verbatim from the backstage of the London Fan Convention. I looked around, saw how fake this industry had become. Everything's about money. Not art, not creativity, not humanity. Hollywood, in his eyes, had completely lost its integrity. The second reason, more brutal than anything, family. Anderson looked straight at thousands of fans in the London Convention Hall and said one simple but weighty sentence, I chose my daughter. The truth grew even more shocking when leaked emails from Netflix's internal correspondence revealed Richard once turned down a $15 million offer for a biographical documentary produced by Netflix. The reason stated in his rejection, I don't want my life turned into content. It didn't stop there. In 2023, Disney offered $5 million for a 5-episode cameo in the Stargate Origins reboot. His answer was still no. Paramount also pitched a guest role in the MacGyver reboot, with a proposed fee of $3 million for just one episode. Anderson didn't even bother responding. Newsbreak remarked, no actor in Hollywood history has turned down more money, more offers, and more fame than Richard Dean Anderson. An unprecedented record. The online community exploded. Hashtags #Richard Dean Anderson, #MacGyver forever, and #Why Richard Quit shot to the top of X's trending list for 48 hours straight. Reddit ignited with over 25,000 posts in just 3 days. The Stargate Command fan page saw a 5-fold surge in traffic. The media split into 2 camps. Forbes described him as the last true rebel of Hollywood. Meanwhile, TMZ published a critical comment. Richard Dean Anderson is either the bravest man in Hollywood or the most selfish. At this point, the world finally understood why he left. But to truly grasp why that choice was so fierce, one must look back at everything that came before. A dark childhood. Born in 1950 in Minneapolis, Richard Dean Anderson grew up in a family rife with conflict. His father, a rigidly strict physics teacher, clashed with his mother, a free-spirited artist immersed in painting and music. One side was iron discipline, the other, the unrestrained freedom of art. The clash of values between his parents became the first deep wound of Richard's childhood. Family pressure left Anderson feeling perpetually out of place. His only escape was sports. Hockey became his outlet, his passion, and his greatest teenage dream. But then tragedy struck. 2 severe arm fractures in consecutive matches led to a doctor's blunt verdict. It's over. You can't play professional hockey anymore. His entire world collapsed, completely directionless. Richard sank into severe depression for years, From an energetic teenager, he became a recluse, grappling with feelings of failure, uselessness, and a lack of purpose. In an interview with Slash Film, Anderson admitted, "That was the first time I truly felt broken. Desperate." He enrolled at St. Cloud State University, then transferred to Ohio University, hoping to find another path. But academia offered no solace. College was a prison. "I dropped out because it didn't teach me how to survive real life," Anderson said bluntly. Leaving school, he threw himself into a string of odd jobs just to survive. Waiter, bartender, bar musician, street circus performer, street actor, anything to make a living. He lived in an old van for over 8 months, sleeping in parking lots, surviving on instant noodles. Anderson described that period as brutal survival mode. There was no stroke of luck, no fairy tale Hollywood moment as many stories paint. Anderson stumbled into acting not out of passion but out of desperation. A poster for local theater extras became his last resort. He took the role solely because it paid $50 per performance. A temporary turning point came in 1976. Anderson landed the role of Dr. Jeff Weber in the soap opera General Hospital, a wildly popular series at the time. But this first taste of fame was a gilded cage. General Hospital turned him into a television heartthrob, but behind the scenes, it was a mental hell. Anderson told Sci-Fi Wire, "I hated being a soap opera pretty boy. Every scene was about kissing, crying, or undressing. It was soul-killing. 5 years of churning through repetitive scenes, family arguments, love, breakups, reconciliations, bedroom drama. The scripts looped endlessly. Anderson lost all faith in acting." Colleagues described him as short-tempered, often losing control, and always looking for ways to escape the set. At the same time, personal tragedy struck again. His first serious relationship, with deaf actress Marlee Matlin, crumbled quickly. Matlin told People Richard was married to his job. There was no space for anyone else. No relationship could survive the grueling set schedule and his hollow personal life. Fed up with soap operas and loathing his TV pretty boy role, Anderson nearly quit Hollywood right after his General Hospital contract ended. The decision was hours away from being finalized. But fate wasn't done with him. An unexpected phone call, a seemingly inconsequential audition, opened the door to both glory and the hell called MacGyver. The MacGyver hell. MacGyver exceeded all expectations. Over 70 countries bought the rights. Ratings consistently topped U.S. television charts. But behind those numbers lies a horrific truth. Richard Dean Anderson nearly sacrificed his health to maintain the invincible MacGyver image on screen. For 7 straight years, from 1985 to 1992, a 16 to 18-hour workday was the norm. No days off, no weekends, no concept of a personal life. His entire existence was confined to the set, scripts, scenes, props, and relentless pressure. In 1991, the collapse came. Anderson collapsed on set, completely exhausted. He was rushed to the hospital with a diagnosis of nervous exhaustion, severe dehydration, and chronic stress. OK magazine quoted his doctor. He was physically operating at 20% capacity. The incident nearly led Anderson to abandon the series, but the studio issued a direct threat. If he quit mid-season 6, he'd face a breach of contract lawsuit with damages up to $18 million. The Hollywood Reporter confirmed the studio was ready to destroy him financially if he walked away. Pressure didn't just come from the filming schedule. The MacGyver backstage was a veritable battlefield. Anderson repeatedly clashed with the writing team. The reason he demanded scripts be more humane, less violent, less absurd. But producers fired back, insisting on more action, explosions, and danger to boost ratings. Slash Film revealed at least 11 episodes were rewritten after Anderson's heated arguments with the writers. The biggest conflict erupted in Season 5. A scene required MacGyver to jump over a 20-meter waterfall without a safety harness. Anderson, furious, refused to film, calling it suicidal stupidity. The studio threatened to terminate his contract if he didn't comply. The standoff lasted over 2 weeks, forcing the crew to revise the entire script. Simultaneously, his personal life crumbled. His relationship with Terry Hatcher fell apart quickly. The reason Richard never came home. His home was the set. Terry Hatcher confirmed to People. In 1989, his relationship with actress Cella Ward also collapsed after a major argument over his work consuming all his time. Ward shared, "I was competing with MacGyver, and I lost." It didn't stop there. MacGyver triggered an identity crisis for Anderson. A Slash-Film interview excerpt revealed a shocking truth: "I didn't know who I was anymore. Was I Richard, or was I MacGyver? I honestly couldn't tell." Physically broken, mentally drained. By season 7, Anderson began refusing to film overly dangerous action scenes. The stunt team was doubled, but the consequence was escalating backstage tension. Producers repeatedly threatened to replace the lead actor. MacGyver officially ended in 1992, but instead of freedom, Anderson was immediately dragged into 2 follow-up TV movies, MacGyver Lost Treasure of Atlantis and MacGyver Trail to Doomsday. Both flopped disastrously. Record low ratings. Critics described them as desperate, hollow, and irrelevant. After the failure of the 2 TV movies, Anderson severed all ties with the MacGyver brand. He refused all related interviews. He avoided promotional events. When asked about MacGyver in an interview, he gave a single response: "It almost killed me." MacGyver ended, but the story wasn't over. A new, even harsher chapter awaited him. Escaping Stargate. In 1997, Richard Dean Anderson unexpectedly returned to television as Colonel Jack O'Neill in Stargate SG-1. But from the first day of signing the contract, he set an unprecedented condition in Hollywood: 3 days off per week. Non-negotiable. An unheard-of demand in an industry that typically runs on grueling 6- or even 7-day work weeks. MGM Studios agreed, simply because they knew no Richard, no Stargate. Stargate SG-1 exploded into a global phenomenon. 10 seasons, 213 episodes. It became the longest-running sci-fi series in U.S. television history at the time. It elevated Richard Dean Anderson to a new level, from action star to pop culture icon. But behind the glory, tragedy repeated itself. 9 months of continuous filming each year. The days off were only nominal scripts. Meetings, ADR, promotions, fan events. The schedule remained packed. The only difference, instead of getting home at 3 a.m., like during MacGyver, he now got home at 8 p.m. Internal tensions flared from the first season. Richard repeatedly clashed with director Jonathan Glassner. The cause: creative differences over Jack O'Neill's character. Richard wanted O'Neill to be humorous, sarcastic, psychologically complex. Glassner wanted a serious, stereotypical military archetype like Kurt Russell's film version. The conflict dragged on for 2 seasons. The backstage was taut as a wire. At its peak, Richard threatened to leave the series if he wasn't given full control over O'Neill's performance. Ultimately, the writing team had to concede, completely redesigning the character's personality from Season 3. Issues escalated further in Season 9. The script planned to reduce Jack O'Neill to a supporting role, ceding the lead to a new character, Colonel Cameron Mitchell. Richard fiercely opposed it. He nearly quit the series if the writers didn't rewrite the entire story arc. Gateworld revealed the script for Season 9 was rewritten 3 times under direct pressure from Richard Dean Anderson. While backstage drama raged, physical and mental pressure continued to mount. From 2005 to 2007, Richard entered a state of chronic stress, insomnia, and lost 8 kilograms in just 5 months. His health visibly deteriorated. Deep eye bags, thinning hair, graying skin. Colleagues described him as a shell of a man. But the knockout blow didn't come from Hollywood. It came from family. In 1998, his daughter Wiley was born. Her arrival completely reshaped Richard's worldview. He looked into her eyes and knew this is more important than any show. Closer Weekly quoted him. From Season 8, Richard began reducing his appearances. he shifted to supporting roles or appeared via video calls in the show. The writing team had to overhaul the storyline, promoting Jack O'Neill to general and moving him to a logistical role, removing him from the main cast. From 2007 to 2013, Richard's screen appearances became sporadic. A few cameos in Stargate Atlantis, Stargate Universe, and the film Stargate Continuum. But these were mere shadows. No longer the Richard Dean Anderson, the iconic Jack O'Neill that fans once knew. In 2013, it all ended. No retirement announcement, no media statement. Richard Dean Anderson silently vanished from Hollywood. A total disappearance. All filming offers were declined. His only response, "No, thank you, I'm done." Fans were stunned. Crews were bewildered. The entertainment industry couldn't comprehend what was happening. But the truth was brutally simple. Richard Dean Anderson chose to leave to live instead of acting like he was alive. Present and legacy. At 74, Richard Dean Anderson is living the life millions could only dream of. A secluded $9 million villa nestled deep within the forests of Malibu, far away from the lights of Hollywood, far from the media, and far from the entertainment industry he once deliberately walked away from. No social media. Richard Dean Anderson has completely disappeared from the digital world. Every photo, video, and update about him comes solely from fans either reposted from fan-run pages or captured during his rare appearances at fan conventions. His current life revolves around just three things: family, nature, and himself. Every year, Richard only agrees to attend exactly 2 fan conventions carefully selected, private, and with zero mainstream press coverage. In 2025, his 2 rare appearances were at London Comic-Con and South Texas Fan Expo. Each time, tickets sold out in less than 10 minutes. Thousands lined up just for a photo, a handshake, or to hear him quietly say, "Thank you for remembering me." Financially, Richard doesn't need to work another day in his life. His net worth is estimated at around $30 million, with stable income flowing from lifetime royalties of 2 iconic franchises, MacGyver and Stargate SG-1. On top of that, he maintains real estate investments, including his Malibu home and several rental properties in Vancouver, Canada. And then, despite his wealth, Richard lives an astonishingly simple life. No supercars, no yachts, not a single sign of the flashy, excessive lifestyle typical of Hollywood stars. His life is fully centered around peace, freedom, and a deep connection to nature. The legacy Richard Dean Anderson has left behind isn't just about acting. It has become a global cultural symbol. MacGyver is more than just a TV series, it's a philosophy of life. The concept of problem-solving with simple, everyday items became so culturally influential that the word MacGyverism was officially added to the Oxford English Dictionary in 2002. To this day, millions of people worldwide use the term to describe creative, out-of-the-box solutions. MacGyver is used as a teaching tool in STEM classrooms worldwide. High schools, universities, and educational organizations across the U.S., Canada, Germany, Japan, and more use episodes of MacGyver.